Okay, so the undercarriage has been drying on there now, and also what we've actually done here is unmask the actual canopy, which is nice and clean. Then obviously the other canopy nice and clean as well. So also what we've got on the go here is the two parts that go between the two. You can see them like here, which is the part which actually fits up inside the actual clear part, which obviously we've sprayed now anyway. But to give us a rough idea of how we're looking, if we fit it on there now, we've got something looking very much like a Focke-Wulf. Okay, so the next thing we've got on is the tail wheel is on, and it's obviously because we just opened it up slightly, pushed it on, squeezed it together. It's a loose fit, it can run quite nicely. What we're going to do is put some extra thin on the nuts on the undercarriage, just like that. Then we're going to come along and we're just going to push fit for the moment our wheels up under there. Now you could do this with super glue. The reason I like to do it with extra thin like this is because we can let it somewhat go off just for a couple of minutes, like we got the wheels on there, and then we can line up our flat spots, put it down and get the pinch and the angle and everything of the wheels set in position, because it hopefully will allow us to do that and they won't bend and fall over. And that way we can come along like this and taking our time very carefully, angling the flat spots all down to how we want them. Okay, and then we can come along just like this and we can actually set up and get the wheels looking square and everything in front, because obviously the angle is that it's coming in, it's actually diagonally coming down, so the wheel, it has to sit upright on there. So it's quite a complex angle, but we want them all to be square and lined up. So obviously if we're doing it with a little bit of extra thin like this, it gives it time to maneuver and you can push it into shape. And then once it's, you know, you're happy, you can look down it and it all looks square and is okay. Once you're all happy like that, we can come along again, give it another little bit of glue just to weld it and make sure it's all in place. But I'm quite happy with that, how that's all sitting at the moment. I'm just going to move the flat spot on the tail. We want that all to be okay as well. So we just square up these wheels again. Happy, flat spots are all down, it's all in position, looking straight down it, and usually there's nothing better than the eye. Just look right down it. If it's looking all square and okay, then we know we're doing okay. If it's obviously looking a little bit sort of, you know, skew with, and if it's sort of not quite the right shape, then we know we've got a problem. But if we just bring you in a bit, we just angle you round, there we go, you can see it laying just there like that. But just make sure those wheels are in position. There again, give it a couple of minutes now, walk away, do some other jobs. Like at the moment I'm going to do this one with fitting this parts of the canopy. There's a small little placard that's got to go on here as well, and bits and pieces, and just let those bits go off and go hard. Then afterwards, as I say, we can get these two fitted together in there like that. We can go along, paint up the guns obviously into gunmetal, get them sorted out, and then obviously we can then sort out this little problem we've got up here with the guns just lining up the way they will sit. We can get all that done. But as I say, and then this canopy, we're going to do this, he's going to fit up in here in the open position, leaning up, obviously up against the windscreen like that, to show off all that detail on the inside. Okay, so we're certainly getting there. As you can see, put a few more bits and pieces on. Still got to do the guns, various things like that. And the things we'll talk about is this canopy back here. If I zip you in a little bit. As you can see, this canopy back here, normally this framework, which is obviously got the headrest here and the bar that runs down to the back, if you can see that, normally that attaches to the clear part underneath here, just like that. Putting it on there and then playing with it, obviously in reality it sits there as a hole and it slides back and forth. But what I was thinking of doing, it make it easier fit, that if it stayed on there like that, and then obviously the clear part can come along and clip in just like so, onto it just like that, and then that way, to keep it dust free, I can maneuver it then forward into the closed position when it's not being used, just like that. And what I'm going to do, obviously you get a gap underneath. Camera can focus in, weave out that. Obviously you get a gap underneath, so what I'm going to do is just trim these edges just down here. Point with the needle, we've got one just down here and then we've got the other one back here. Just trim them in a little bit just to make it so it fits and flows a lot easier. But I think you agree, it's an easier way of doing it than it is to be messing around with it all. But certainly in the open position it clicks in and is fine just like that. He says, just trying to get it in. There we go, and it fits in there just like that with no problem at all. Other little bits and pieces I've actually done to it. I've put in the centre doors underneath here. As you can see, they're in there now, and I've put the struts in there. Very simple, they go in. Now this here is the aerial for running down, which is a photo etch part. Now either I missed it or there's no hole for it to go through, so literally I just drilled one out, put one in. Now it's a photo etch pit, so it does tend to bend and all the other bits around it. So what we're going to do is paint that the grey colour and leave the end as just being metal down there, and it'll fill in that little hole that we've made at the same time, and it will strengthen it and make it a little bit easier. But that was just set with a little bit of PE. The PE was set with a little bit of CA glue, just super glue, just to hold it in place. So what we're going to do now, we're just going to go around, check it all over, make sure we're all in. We've still got the boarding ladder to go on, which is obviously going to go down and click in here, but we'll put that on one of the last bits to go on. But basically we're just going around making sure we're all okay, we're all happy of how it all is, and the other bits and pieces, but it's really come together. It's really looking the business. I'm very happy the way it's turned out. So we just got the post shading. So what I'm going to do next is pop around with some gunmetal and just do the cannons there, and just do them so they're in place. Just going to glue this down into position, the guns down onto the top here, so it's in the smooth line, it's all in position and works well like that. And then basically we're all ready for the final reveal. Okay, so now we're just going to pop in with some post shading. So what we'll do, we'll just flip this over. Now in here I've got flat black mixed with a tiny bit of grey. Now the reason I put the grey in there is to take the edge off it being totally flat black. So usual thing, if I show you outwards and then we can show you closer. Check our flow, make sure we're all happy with it. Then looking down the line, obviously keeping it 90 degrees for the airflow of you running back. We can just simply continuous airflow, and then just little bits of paint, and then let it dry, little bits of paint. So really what we're doing some of this, then we cut to air, then we do it again, then we cut to air, then we do it again, cut to air, and as you can see you get a nice little blast back pattern. So what we can do, we can just walk it back a little bit down the thing and just do a couple of nice little blows going down. So then we'll just do the same for the other one, which is a bit tricky because obviously we've got the little bit here going on, this panel open, it should get down there all okay. And what we do, we just do it down the engine, because when we dry it off it should come back a nice little dusty colour. There we go, then we just add a little bit more, just down like that. So if I show you what we're doing a bit tighter in here, so if we bring you in a bit closer, there we go. All we do, we're coming in with the airbrush like this, check our flow, we're happy, cut to air, dry it off, you don't want it to go too wet, down, and we'll just walk it back down, cut into air, back down again. Now I don't want to go over the top and make big black lines running down the back, but certainly we want to make it a little bit better. And then what we do, this one on this side, all we're going to do is literally blow in a little bit. I move it across slightly, you might be able to see it better. Right, there we go. Just move it back, there we go. And what I'll do is I'll come in from the underside to do the top bit. So we're just doing the top of it for the moment. Cut to air. That's the paint. Obviously it's going to show a lot stronger on here. And then what we'll do, we just do down the side again, just up here, just to give this some cut to air, quite a bit, running down, just blowing in this area, because obviously it's dirt, we're not going to really see it going on behind the areas down here. Little bits running back, and then what we'll do is if we flip this over, we can see it a lot clearer on the underside. So if we just okay, then obviously these guns coming off the ejector door, which is back here. Yeah. Then we've obviously got the main doors down from the middle here, which are the main guns. So we're just going to do sort of popping action. Just like that. Okay, off the other one. just down the back, so we're getting that type of effect. Then all we do, we're just going to put a little bit of dirt, just lightly spraying the bottom half, just to give it a bit of dirt everywhere. A little bit of the panels. If we bring you out a little bit, you can see what we've done just down there to give it that type of effect without going over the top. Then this front one, obviously we can just get in there, cut back to air, dry down. There we go, just like that. And then what we can do as a final little touch, we can just literally, with this dark wash we've got going here, it just blow gently down the entire model, just tone it just a little bit back, absolutely everywhere, all the grey areas, totally on the underside, fairly. And hopefully what this will do is just knock it back a little bit and stop it being quite as strong a colour. Obviously mind your clear bits, but we're nice and clear here. So squirts around the engine, the bay, front end with the propellers. Oh, lost the wheel, not a good sign. Just on the undersides. And we just dirty up the doors. There we go, happy with that. So what we'll do is we'll just get this door wheel stuck back on, which is my fault. It's one of those little errors I made there. I should have put more glue on before we moved on. So what I'll do is I'll put a drop more on the other wheel to make sure that's all welded in. Then what we'll do is flick that off. And we'll get this down here. Same thing again. Make sure we're all lined up with the wheels. Get them all into position on the flat spots and squared up and happy again. We are all happy. So what we can do, we can leave that now just to dry off, get that wheel to go on there, and then we can start getting all the bits together already. And there we go, we're all complete. Well worth opening up those side engine panels, really, but otherwise that lovely work we did with the engine and the bits and pieces would have been completely lost and never seen it again. The only thing I haven't done really at the moment is to add some thread, really as an aerial system running back and forth. It's something I'm going to have to get hold of, a bit of thinner type of fishing line, something like that in black where I can use it, or some cotton or stretch sprue, whichever way we do it, but it needs really those two on. Done the lights on there, obviously red for your port, starboard for your green there on there, various bits and pieces. As I say, soft fit with a canopy so it can be shown open or closed, but certainly these bits here are fixed now around the canopy, they can't be changed at all. Over on the underside, as I say, we did the weathering with the things. We've obviously painted up the area. We've got the boarding ladder actually done as well there now, so that's all looking very, very nice. And as I say, that weathering we did obviously with the wash on the yellow really works well and comes to life. Great kit to go together. First time really done an Eduard one like this. Normally I do sort of 132, the bigger versions of it, but it's great to work on such a small little kit. It goes together very, very well, and the usual thing, or the thing I found with doing the kit, is if it doesn't go together right, there's usually a good reason for it. I know I've said it in the past with other ones, but with the Eduard one sometimes you don't get sort of locating pins, things like that, so you have to be a bit more careful, but as long as it all seems to be there, you'll be okay. Very straightforward going together, it's not too complicated. Things like the engine where you could get a bit lost on, certainly if you follow the instructions you'll have no trouble at all. It's been a great little build, I hope you enjoyed it, and join me again next time.